What happens to your government ID after you hand it over to Claude? As of July 8th, Anthropic's new privacy policy requires flagged users to submit their government ID and biometric selfie, which will be stored and verified by a controversial company called Persona. Let's get to know Persona. Persona is backed by Founders Fund, led by Peter Thiel, who also co-owns this company. Just setting the stage. It's used by lots of companies to ensure that you are the person who you say you are. Persona had a massive code leak back in February 2026 because it put extremely private data on a test server that it left open to the public. This was not a data leak, it was a code leak. It didn't leak people's IDs. But it did reveal that Persona is not just a regular ID check company. It can actually run 269 different verification checks. Who knew there were so many? We're talking watch list screening, politically exposed person tracking, scanning users against 14 categories of adverse media. After this leak, there was controversy, and companies like Discord ended their contract with Persona. But it is incredibly hard and time-consuming to switch vendors that do ID verification. And these tech companies are required by law to have an ID check in place. So they can't be in a situation where they don't have a way to check this for months. Plus, at the same time, Persona's competitor ID Merit had an even more severe data exposure, involving actual records and not just code. For many of these tech companies, compliance is mandatory. Your privacy is more of a nice to have. Now back to Discord. Now, a company like Discord that immediately cut ties with Persona, it relies more on their community versus enterprise customers. They cannot afford customer backlash. So they worked with other vendors and forced them to delete the ID records the second the verification is done. Persona, on the other hand, keeps your ID for up to 3 years. Now, why wouldn't Anthropic do the exact same thing? In fact, Anthropic points out that your ID is stored with Persona and not with them, because to some, that separation might seem like a good thing. But the reality is companies like Anthropic need to establish that separation. They can face massive fines if they mishandle face geometry like biometric selfies. There's also much higher stakes with these AI companies versus Discord. People can use these AI companies for things like cybersecurity attacks. So taking the responsibility of handling the ID checks themselves is not a smart move for the company. So what will you do if you are asked for your government ID by Claude, but that is not something you want Persona to have? Your best option is a local LLM. Comment local and hit follow, and I will DM you my free guide.